All right, our Beyonders, welcome back to Tabletop and Beyond. We are back. We took a little bit of a holiday break. It was kind of nice. I think a lot of us were busy with families, so we're glad to be back. We're glad to be back with you, our online family, who we
Yes.
love very much. Thank you, the one or two people who are listening to us. We love you. We love you very much. Yes, we are in a new year, 2024. Happy New Year's, guys. We have a great show ahead. We're going to be talking about how our New Year's resolutions from last year did, and we're going to hold ourselves accountable, Dan and Jason. And we're going to come up with some New Year's resolutions
That's
that are
right.
absolutely attainable 100% this year.
Tanium.
Yes, exactly. So, of course, as always, let's get into our Geek Week. Dan, why don't we kick it off with you? How was your Geek Week?
Oh, good. Yeah. Usually I try to game a little bit during the winter break. And I got 2 RPG sessions in. One of those, we've fully morphed our West Marches RPG, Star Wars RPG, into like more of a generic Edge of the Empire RPG. Had a great time. Well attended, and kicked off kind of a new arc. So that's always fun. That's a game I'm running. So it's good when you've been running the same game for like 10 years that you still find stories that you find interesting. And that goes to the elasticity, I think, of Star Wars. Also, for the first time since 1997, I bought Magic the Gathering cards.
Whoa, what'd you do that for?
Well, the Lord of the Rings dual deck pack has been sold out in all the online stores because I was just going to pick one up and then they vanished. And you can't get them like at Miniature Market or stuff like that or Amazon. But I saw one on the shelf at Barnes & Noble for retail, and I grabbed it because I was not going to go to eBay and pay more than MSRP. And I have a buddy to play Magic the Gathering with. He's got the exact same decks, and he's like, hey, let's get together and play. So I have all my old cards from 1993 and 4 and now 97 and now 2023. So
that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah. I kind of want to have a dead or nearly dead CCG game night where people bring old cards and we put together decks and play them like board games.
Yeah.
That's been on my to-do list.
Well,
maybe that'll be
Magic.
Not Magic. Magic is not dead, but if you bring your old, there's what I mean is no shame in bringing old cards, right? Like if you're sitting around on an old collectible card game or whatever card game, bring a card game.
You could play Rage. Remember Rage?
Rage was great.
Yeah, that was a great card game.
Yeah. There was the vampire one. There was the werewolf one. Yeah. I still have all my original Star Trek CCG cards and all my original Star Wars CCG cards. So I kind of sitting on a bunch of that stuff. So I think I'm ready to circle back to it and play around with it and go, oh yeah, this is why this was fun. This is good stuff. So that was my Geek Week.
Oh, very good. Very, very good. Jason, how was your Geek Week?
Mine was a fun Geek Week. We had a 14 and I clocked it in at around 14 and a half hours of Axes and Allies Global 1940.
That's right, we did.
It was pretty intense, yeah. And it went fast too. I mean, it was 14 hours, but it went fast. Like next thing
it didn't feel like it was
3
hours.
Yeah, next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by, and then another 3 hours have gone by. I think we had we tried to throw like a World War II movie on the TV in the background, and we went through like 4 movies, and then just let it play whatever it was going to play afterwards after that. But so it was a fun game. I had a lot more fun than I thought I was going to have. I played Axes and Allies. This was my 3rd time playing Axes and Allies. Yeah, my 3rd time. And I'm not a big like real history game buff. Like I like a lot of flavor of science fiction flavor in my history, but I felt like this game played really well. It was a lot of fun, especially with the people we had at the table And I think everybody was in the game for most of the game.
Yeah.
Making choices that had to be responded to by the other players. I still think that it is an allies heavy game.
I think you have to have so many things go right for you as the Axis to win that. You know.
But it is funny, you can tell when you're about done playing, when the Axis players start kind of complaining about the balance. They're like, but
fair, man.
You get to that point to where the trash talk starts, but it's like in-game trash talk,
Yeah.
Like, well, the only reason you could even do that is because, at the beginning you had, 30 ISUs over everyone else, or, something like that. All that kind of stuff.
Welcome to historical board gaming.
I will say I like Axis and Allies, and I think this is why I have more fun with it, is that it definitely has a foot in that historical board gaming, but it also has one foot out in the, like, let's throw some mechanics and some dice and some things in there that I still don't think it's perfectly balanced away from the historical, but it's way better than like all of those like hardcore, replays where you're just recreating a simulation of like a specific war.
Yeah, like the Battle of Waterloo or something like that, right? And you're like, Napoleon's gonna get it, Yeah. So
that was my first thing. That was huge. Justin played that with me, and then we had three other guys that played with us. It was a lot of good time in my basement. And then I spent the whole next day installing an amp in my daughter's Honda Civic. My daughter is at college. She needed a car. It's about that time in her college. She's getting a job. She needed to be able to kind of move away or drive a little bit away from campus. So she went and bought kind of an old car and drove it home and turned it on and realized that it didn't have any audio. You didn't try the audio when you sat in the car the first time. No, I was like, okay. So I looked in the back, and all it was somebody had updated the receiver with a line driver instead of the amplifier to the speakers. That normally your receiver is like a 20 watt that just drives the car speakers directly. Well, when people want to put their amps in, they switch to line level out, and then they run RCA cables usually to the trunk where they've got all their amps installed. Well, whoever had this car before her had amps with line levels driving to the trunk, and then when they sold the car, they took their amps out.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to put a subwoofer in the back of your car because that's just a recipe. That's just putting a target on your back in Richmond, Virginia to get your car broken into. So I bought like an $80 like 400 watt amp off Amazon and shoved it in the back and connected it to her door speakers and got it up running. But that was a good, I'm not a car audio mechanic, so that was a good solid Saturday for me.
It's an all-day project. Yeah.
But got it working, and I felt like, hey, here's the dad that, hooked up his daughter with their car, and here we go. And I got all the battle scars on my hands and arms to prove it.
That would have been a week-long project for myself with multiple trips to like the store and like watching YouTube for hours, like I know nothing about that arena.
It's a different domain. I'm an electrical engineer by trade, but electrical engineering and electricians are two different languages. And so half the time, like, I understand a concept, but I've got to go figure out what are they talking about, because they're using totally different words. Like black in this domain is yellow in this domain, and they never use red for the same thing as white over here. And so I just have to. It's the same. A lot of my time is spent reading and watching YouTube videos.
The way that I understood that, Jason, is from the comparing it to the movie Zoolander when David Duchovny talks about you face and body boys, and he's a hand jockey model. Like you're both models, but you got different roles.
Yeah, right? There you go. Sure.
I'm a hand jockey, not like you face and body boys.
2 days ago, didn't you look at me and say the files are in the computer?
I don't know. I got it
in the computer.
Zoolander's living rent free in my head right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for me. What about you, Justin?
Let's see. I'm gonna talk. So we actually, like, three of us did some pretty good gaming together over the last week. And not counting the Axis and Allies, because Dan, you were doing a Star Wars game that night, I think.
Affirmative.
But we played on last Wednesday Doctor Who, the role playing game. I'm gonna share my screen for this one because I enjoyed this game more than I thought I would. So Doctor Who is one of those things that I know is like very prominent in geek and nerd culture, and I'm probably gonna get lambasted for this, but I think I've seen maybe one episode of Doctor Who. As Dan put it, I've got a working geek knowledge of Doctor Who, which means that like I understand the concepts and the basics, and I know what Daleks are, and I know what like the universal screwdriver is, and all that kind of stuff.
It's
Sonic.
It's Sonic.
See, here it is. Right, exactly, the Sonic screwdriver.
Also Dalek.
So yeah, and it's not Dalek. I used to call him Daleks all the time. Yeah. So like I've got I kind of understand, know what the TARDIS is, right? Like I get all that stuff. But we played this, and I'm happy to say that I didn't really need a deep lore knowledge of Doctor Who to be able to have a good time with this game, right? Like it helped that I knew again what the Daleks were, so that when they showed up, we knew that we needed to do something like run or figure out an alternative way. Like that helped, but it was a fun. This was the starter set. Our friend Sean Fielding had gotten it for Christmas, and he was running it for us. And there's 2 more adventures that go with it, and I'm excited to play the other 2. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I think that in order to play or enjoy any type of a Doctor Who thing, all you need to understand is 3 things, right? The Daleks, Time Lords, and the TARDIS. That's it. Mm-hmm. Everything else is self-contained in an episode. Just about. There are some arcs, that they've done with the current stuff, but it's such a like loose, light science fiction setting that is based on what we already understand today. That even I think at one point my wife and I were watching Doctor Who seasons together, and I can't always get her to watch sci-fi with me, but it's a very easy, accessible science fiction universe to jump into.
And the exact opposite would be like the Dune RPG.
Oh yeah,
right.
Where you really need to, if you understand the Dune universe. Like I played the box set with some people who had no idea, had never seen any of the movies. And
wow.
Okay, well, like 50,000 years in the future, no one's allowed to use a computer, but there's still interstellar travel.
Yeah.
Cool, let's go.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, we're all hyped up on this sand stuff.
Yeah, nobody gets to fly through space unless you get toasted on the spice.
Yeah.
Anyway, the opposite of what the barrier of entry.
Spice lines.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the kicker. So, so I like Doctor Who. I'm going to recommend it. You can see it's available here on Cubicle 7. This is in pounds. It's probably about $35 for the starter set on Amazon.
Euro. That's pounds or euros?
Yeah, this is euros. Sorry, not pounds, euros. Yeah, so it's probably about $35 on Amazon.
It's good value. There are 3 custom dice, some nice character folios, some good full color books. Our buddy got it, and it seemed like a great value for that price.
And you've got 3 adventures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you figure, listen, all the dice and folios and stuff aside, I mean, that's 3 gaming sessions that you can play, and it takes about 4 hours. I mean, $10 a session. That's pretty good value.
Yeah, it's great value.
So, big fan. The second thing is that there was a sale, a big Ubisoft sale, and I picked up Assassin's Creed Mirage to play. For those of you that know me, know that I love Assassin's Creed. I've played pretty much every single game to completion. And I mean 100% completion. And so this one's a little bit shorter of a game. It gets back to the Assassin's Creed roots, I think, a little bit more they kind of strayed a little bit with Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla. Like those kind of turned into more like story-driven RPGs where you're an assassin, but really you're just going around fighting things with spears and swords and axes. So it was less of the sneaky, stealthy assassin, and this gets you back to it. So it takes place in Baghdad, like around 800, and it's pretty good. I've had a good time with it so far. So, like I said, I got it on sale, so I'm not, I wouldn't advocate buying it full price. So, but I had a good time. I've been having a good time with it.
Do all the games still explore the sci-fi simulation? Is that how you're playing them?
Yes. Like, some have been doing less than others. Like this one just started out, and I'm not super far into it. I just picked it up like 2 days ago. So this one kind of like has a narration in the beginning as you're loading into the Animus, right? Which is how you explore like these like past things. And so it's one of the assassin's kind of cell leaders. He's kind of giving you a little bit of background about like why you're checking out this life. But in the old ones, like Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood and Revelations and all that, like you would actually get out of the Animus for a little while, like go explore like modern day with Desmond a little bit and kind of like put together like, oh, this is where we're at right now. The Templars and the Assassins are still going at each other just in a modern day. And there's like a lot of less of that right now. So, but I read an article, and I know I'm going way down a tangent here, but I read an article the other day that they kind of jumped the shark a little bit, or maybe jumped the rails is a better expression. They jumped the rails a little bit.
Should always jump the shark.
Exactly. But they jumped the rails a little bit because in like Origins and Valhalla, they introduced like the god pantheons as sort of like the people who came before as like a different subset of them. And it was confusing like the lore quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we can't do that anymore. So they're kind of going back to the roots big time. So anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good times. Good times. So that's like our call out to the video games for a little bit. So
I remember the first thing, like one of the first hangouts that you and I ever did was go see the Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I remember going and hanging out and going to Five Guys beforehand, hanging out and talking about like what our expectations of this movie was going to be, and then going and seeing the movie. It was like us and like three other guys or something like that. But
didn't that have Michael Fassbender in it?
I don't know people's names.
Michael Fassbender is like the main dude.
Yeah.
So
actually, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Here's
the anima. Yep. I remember their approach to the Animus in the movie was kind of wonky.
Yeah.
It was like a virtual reality, full body hookup set.
Right.
It was kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Every
I'm not
video
recommending
game,
the movie.
every video game, every movie based on a video game is really good. Every single one. That is a shoe-in. If you go see a movie based on a video game, it's going to be worth every penny.
Drake Uncharted was a great movie.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It was
Uncharted.
a lot of fun.
It was pretty good.
And it was
had
true
Tom
to the
Holland
video
and
game.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah,
it was very true to the video game.
Yeah.
Uncharted. Yeah.
I mean, the Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider had a sequel.
Okay,
so
modern Tomb Raider or Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider.
So the modern Tomb Raider for the Tomb Raider story, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider for Angelina Jolie.
Okay. Well,
so
sure.
I mean,
that's why all of us went to see it back in the day.
Yeah. So funny story. I was coming back from doing my mission, right? And I was on a plane, and like that was like one of 3 movies that I could watch. Like,
Nice.
all right, here we are.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I ended up watching that. It was like that, the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and then the Wedding Planner, which was like the Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Lopez,
J-Lo,
I was like, well, looks like I'm watching Tomb Raider like 8 times because
Welcome back to America.
Let's go from England to San Francisco. So, yeah.
I do remember liking the more modern Tomb Raider though, feeling like that was a pretty good representation.
Well, it had Alicia Vikander in it, who I'm a big fan of. She was the girl that was in Deus Ex Machina, or Ex Machina, not Deus Ex Machina.
I never saw Ex Machina.
What, bro? Are you serious?
Yeah, I heard it has some risque stuff in it that I
don't remember.
Just naked robots. I mean,
just naked robots. Yeah.
I don't think it was too
like
risque.
You ever see Ghost in the Shell, the original anime? No. It's just naked androids.
Right.
It's just
naked androids.
So it's the same.
They give them nipples.
Yeah.
If you saw a toaster naked, would that be a thing?
I mean, that's all it is. It's just a toaster. It's just.
I see a toaster naked every day.
Every day, I make a toaster.
Yeah.
Listen, Battlestar Galactica.
The person who made, the guy who made Ex Machina is the same one who made Annihilation with Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
And Devs.
Oh, Devs. Yeah.
Yep.
Devs haunts me. I walk around the house sometimes thinking, I think I gotta go watch Devs again. I think I need some Devs.
Is wonderful.
That's a really good show.
Yeah.
Really
You're going to totally diverge the podcast by going down a Devs rabbit hole.
Then it makes you question your entire reality.
Yeah, it does.
You're like, what am I doing here?
Did I really choose to have that for breakfast today?
Yeah. And how does Ron Swanson know the future?
Yeah. Or how does he continue to go knowing the future?
Oh, dude, that's like the whole. Okay, all right.
All right, we're moving to the news. I'm pulling us out. I'm calling an audible.
It's all right. We're in the news.
Come on, give me some love. Hello, computer. Come on, the listeners are waiting. Tabletop and Beyond News begins now. Would you guys be surprised if I told you I didn't listen to that audio cue before I played it?
Well, that's what you needed to start.
That would have been required to listen to it beforehand. Okay. Don't have a lot of news, but I do think we all love conventions. Conventions are great. If you have a convention, you should go to it locally. If you want to go to a big one, go to a big one. And if you're in the San Francisco area in February, you can get on a cruise convention, Kubla Cruise, based on the wildly popular and successful KublaCon convention based in San Francisco. They're going to go down to hit San Diego. They're going to go to Ensenada, and they're going to turn around all the way back. All the fun of a cruise, all the food, all the relaxation, plus gaming. And if I had not already bought a cruise this year on another line during another month, this would have really tempted me to go. There's another link in the notes for it's also on Tabletop Events.
How many days is it?
Well,
I couldn't see that.
It is only a 6-day cruise, but 6 days is about right. You know, depending on what kind of cruise you like, if you like cruising. If I get on I'm never doing another 3-day cruise again. It's a total waste of time. 4 days is pretty much a waste of time. I have to be on that boat for 5 days. 8 days is like, I think we overdid it.
Yeah.
I think we should probably go.
Yeah.
You guys have gone on cruises, or at least I know
I've never been on a cruise.
I know Jay has.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would mesh up gaming and cruising, but I know, because this is just a California thing, you're just heading south on the California coast. You know, it's like, oh, look, there's a LA out the window. That's nice. Whose turn is it? Let's play this game. Right. There's other areas.
It's not like you're doing like the Alaska cruise where you need to be out on the deck, right?
Exactly. You're missing it if you're indoors. You're not missing very much, So anyway, I like Kubla Khan. I like cruising, and according to the email they sent me yesterday, they still have slots available. So if you go to, just go to tabletop events and look up Kubla Cruise 2024. And there still might be some spots if you're in the San Francisco area and you want to take Friday through Wednesday off of work, from February 2nd to 7th. There might be a federal holiday in there, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, could be good times. I would love to mash up things that I love. I love going on vacations. I love cruises. I'd love to mash that up with gaming. I think that would be really, really fun. I won't be there, but I'll be there at my heart will be on the Kubla Cruise. The trick is getting the spouse to come along.
I think my wife would be totally in for this.
Yeah.
Especially if the three of us went and our wives went, my wife would 100% be in on this. Because she'd be like, you go do your thing, I'll go do my thing with the ladies, and it'll be fun. Yeah. I did want to point out that you could get the Princess Plus pricing that would include premium desserts 2 per day.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. I know that's curious to me. Premium desserts on a cruise. There's so many desserts on the cruise.
Well, premium is like going to the restaurant. Like they have restaurants that are you pay to eat. You pay to eat at the nice restaurant in your ticket, so you don't pay anything. But if you want to go to the super nice restaurant with the reservations, that's the premium stuff. So, but I haven't done Princess. I couldn't tell you about Princess.
Yeah, and it also comes with fitness classes. I'm not sure that the gaming community would be super interested in.
I don't think you should body shame cruise people that want to go take fitness.
I'm not body shaming cruise people. I'm just talking about the reality of gamers when there's games on the line.
So it'd be interesting to look up stats into gaming and cruising a little bit more because we've been hearing about the game cruise.
Yeah,
for probably a decade, but it just doesn't seem like something that's really taken off.
There's a Warhammer cruise.
Is there?
But it's it's like one.
It's like one.
Or
and I don't
maybe
even
another
think
one over here. And then maybe one that comes up for 1 year over here. It's not this huge thing that seems to but the price minus airfare, right? Or travel
minus
cost.
Airfare.
But if you were there, I spend the amount I would spend on this cruise minus airfare, of course, because I live on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
But the amount I would spend on this cruise is probably what I would spend going to Gen Con.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I don't do that. I don't come, it's not like there's just not tons of this. So I'd be curious to maybe do a little research to find out how big are this matchup of these two industries, or these matchups of these two industries.
This is the first time these guys are doing it. I like the people who organize Kubla Khan.
Sure,
I have a soft spot for them because I've been around them for many years. Well, no, I've intersected with them off and on over the years. So, and I don't know, but what I would say is that why not get the heck out of a hotel ballroom with no windows?
Sure. Yeah. Give it a try. Give it a try.
And go to a cruise line ballroom with no windows.
The other thing the other thing is the cruising itself is a kind of a self-selecting population of number one people who like that mode of travel.
Yeah.
Don't get seasick, have the money to do it, and have the time to do it. Can you imagine going to a 6-day convention? Even Gen Con doesn't do unless you do the Wednesday before, which is the industry day, you're not doing 6 days at Gen Con.
The nice thing about doing a 6-day at sea convention, though, is that you don't feel pressured to get in all your games morning, noon, and night. You can be like, I'm taking off Wednesday afternoon and not playing anything. I'm going up to the pool or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Get Mexican food in Ensenada. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to feel pressured to be gaming all the time.
Yeah.
Over 6 days, right?
Yeah, I went on a cruise about a year ago with a family friend, and he's a big gamer, and the wives hung out on the deck, and we played games and went and got food and played games and went and got more food, and played more games, and then went to like a show in the evening, and you had more variety option there. But I could see like, here's the thing, I could see going on a cruise with a bunch of friends like we do when we do Gen Con for like 6 days, because you could mix up a mix of gaming and non-gaming to have that breather space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're a person who wants to go on a cruise, but you love gaming, but you don't have like cruise people to go with, right? Let's say you don't have a significant other or something like that. This could be a great opportunity to not be wandering around a boat alone, right? Anyway,
you'll make instant friends.
Friends. You'll have 20 best friends. Look, I've made cruise friends just doing non-gaming cruises. I mean,
well, they'll be pumping the air freshener through that boat like crazy.
I'm going to assume that this is a population of people that are probably, have a little bit more financial resources. They're probably not as hardcore into the gaming as probably they're more balanced.
So you're saying they're not like the Warhammer crew that dumps all of their money, including hygiene money, into their models.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I just want to try it. I'm going to try it one of these days. But let's go 2025, guys. They're going to do this every year. 2025. We've just set ourselves a New Year's resolution for 2025.
Yeah, but let's book one on the East Coast.
Yeah, if we could find one. Yeah.
Or we just make one. We make one. For
all we have to do is just book the same cruise.
That's right. That's a good point.
GuildCon at sea.
Yeah. We'll make it sound like it's this really awesome thing that we put on the cruise, and everyone will show up and we're like, so where's the GuildCon? People are like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh no, we're just all on the same cruise. That's all really.
It's really hard to find table space on a cruise ship.
Oh,
you gotta work.
There's these little just tables.
Crappy. The tables are like for the cocktail lounge tables, right?
Nice.
Yeah. No thanks. Nice. All right. That was my item. I just wanted to throw out there. I had no idea we would talk this much about it, so I'm kind of impressed.
I mean, it's kind of interesting, like you said. We kind of see them pop up, and every now and then. I did want to share one more thing before, because this is a friend of the show.
A great friend.
I thought I had it. I had it pulled up, and then I didn't. So I don't know what I did.
You started searching cruises.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry. So we have a friend of the show, great friend of the show, big time supporter. His name is Adam Hill, and he just came out with his very first published book that he put up on on Amazon. So here it is right here. It's called The Insentient. And basically you can get it you can buy a paperback version for $18. You can pay $4.99 on Kindle. Or if you have Kindle Unlimited, it is free to download and read there. So it's pretty good. I'm going to read the little excerpt that he put here. He was an insentient, and under the commercial code of the Pono cluster, destined for a life of servitude by any who could possess him. An industrial accident led him to the outside, where a Voloban scientist secreted him away and began experimenting on his brain to restore it to its natural state. Discovered by the militant Kukanuks and forced to flee to the far domains with his Sigrunian sister, he would become witness to epic conflicts unraveling the social order of the cluster. Pursuit of a free life in their small galaxy, to grow old and have a family, was an impossible goal when chased by servitude, death, and even fame. He would not be able to do it alone. So, I downloaded it. I've started it. I'm only a few pages in. I will say that this first few pages, this is, no spoiler since it's like the very beginning. This is where he's working on the industrial thing. Where in the excerpt it says he has an accident. I haven't gotten to the accident part yet, but he's working on this industrial thing, and it has a real strong, it feels like a real strong callback to Andor, if like you remember in the series, there's like kind of that prison chain gang that they're working on, where it's like, you know, boop boop boop, and like everything's like a coordinated act they have to kind of go through as they're working on this thing. So listen, Adam's a big fan of sci-fi, huge fan of Star Wars. He's also a big fantasy fan. I'm super excited to see where this book takes us. So congratulations, Adam, on the book.
Yeah, great job, man.
You know, like it takes some guts to, you know, put yourself out there like that and write a book. You know, a lot of guts and dedication. So congrats.
Yep.
On it.
Bucket list thing right there.
Yeah, for sure. So
The Insentient, available at Amazon. The author Adam Hill, easy to remember.
Adam Hill, The Insentient. Yes, exactly. Well, speaking of bucket list things and things that we'd like to accomplish, as we've mentioned before, this is the New Year's resolution podcast that we like to do every year, talk about how our goals went and how we're doing. So let's talk about last year's goals. These were our 2023 resolutions that we did on January 2nd, exactly 1 year ago today.
Oh, wow.
We broadcast these resolutions. So who wants to start first?
Dan.
With how they did. Okay. Dan, why don't you start us?
On how we did last year?
Yeah, last year.
Are we doing one at a time each?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to go through all three?
Now let's do one at a time.
Let's see. I said play the games I've been buying and haven't been playing. I wanted to play 6 games collecting dust. I'm going to say fail there because I've added more games to what I call the cellophane of shame pile. Yeah. I leave cellophane on them to denote that they have not been played. And I know the ones that have not been played that have had their cellophane removed. My wife starts ripping cellophane off. I'm like, no, we're not playing that. Don't rip the cellophane off. How am I going to know? Anyway, I received games for Christmas. I've already played one of those. Justin, you played it with us. It was Abduction, which is aliens are abducting ducks. It's a pattern recognition game. Mm-hmm. We played that. But anyway, I'm going to say I failed because I think the ratio of old games that I've been playing versus new games I've been acquiring is still out of whack. Okay. I don't have the right air to fuel mixture. So,
well, would you call it a partial success? I mean, a fail is like you utterly failed.
I utterly failed. I'm gonna say utterly failed. I utterly failed.
Honesty's the best policy.
Yeah.
I got some real problems, guys. I got games I bought in the 2021 miniature market. They're dumping stuff, right?
Yeah.
Still haven't played them. I need to, and this goes to my 2024 goals, but I'm not going to spoiler alert. So I'm going to hand it off to you guys.
All right. I'll review mine. I said 1 game a month with the family. I wanted to board game more with the family. Listen, I thought that I was the problem. I thought it was me. I thought that me not scheduling time with the family to play games was the problem. Turns out I'm not the problem.
You're not the problem.
Turns out the problem is that the family doesn't want to play games together. Specifically my 14-year-old boy. So my youngest daughter, who's 10, she actually really likes playing games. And my oldest is into it if she feels like it in the moment. She's kind of like a cat that way. But trying to get the whole family together to play a game, and a game that they enjoyed and would have fun with, was a daunting challenge. So much so that we ended up having Allie on the podcast, I think in like August, to talk about, like, how do we get families to game more? And she made some good points in there about, look, make it simple, make it easy, make it quick, right? Like, if you can do those things, you'll get people to play more games with you. And so I ended up going on Miniature Market and finding a whole bunch of like simple, easy, quick games that we could play in 45 minutes. And so we ended up playing a lot more games the second half of the year. So the once a month didn't work out, but we did have, I would say, 12 good sessions in the second half of the year. So I'm going to count this as a win because I think on average, If I want to play the statistics game, on average, we gamed once a month. So, yeah, but it was a painful, excruciating process. Let me just put that there. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So success, though, chalking it up to success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a success if it was painful.
Sometimes the best things are the ones we have to work the hardest for.
That's right. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Right.
Good for
All right,
you,
Jason,
man.
how about your resolution?
I had a resolution to produce a game and take it to a convention. So I'm going to say I partially succeeded on this because we did work together and publish an adventure, a 5e adventure, right in March of this year.
Yes, we did.
On Drive-Thru RPG. I think it has been downloaded a total of 0 times.
Oh, no.
But that's because I don't know. I don't think we really branded or marketed it at all. All we did was really release it to one of our earlier Patreons and then posted it up there and didn't really do anything with it. But it was a good experience of going through the process of actually getting something posted to Drive-Thru RPG. And there was quite a few iterations with the Drive-Thru RPG admins to get that thing posted without. Now, to be fair, this was right around the time of the license problem that WotC was having. So I think part of me feels like the Drive-Thru RPG admins were being a little more like cautious about things. Like they were having us like cross our T's and dot our I's and like remove references and add references that didn't make any sense. It kind of honestly, I think it kind of turned us off to putting any more out there. We kind of put that one out and then we stepped back and went and then we didn't really do any more since. But I went through the process. I figured out how to publish an adventure. Now, when I started the year, my goal was not to do an RPG adventure. My goal was to do a card game or a board game. And I got through a prototype that we tested on Tabletop Simulator, but then I never took it as far as I wanted to. So I'm going to call it a partial success with some failure in there. I learned some stuff along the way, and I want to revisit. I've been pondering and revisiting some creative ideas I have based off of gameplay of RPGs I've had, and a lot of the board games I played over the year. To think, I don't want to just make a game that's kind of like a run-of-the-mill, boring game. And so I think I'm going to take a step back and try to play more with like my kids and find out what actually grabs them. Because if a game can grab my kids and my wife, it's like that's a golden recipe. Because my family struggles to play games together as well. Yeah. So partial success, but there's some failure mixed in there as well.
Is success the endeavor? Just by endeavoring to do that.
It's the journey.
Success. The journey.
Yeah.
It's the journey. So I would say that I probably thought about this a lot more the first half of the year, and then the last half of the year, not so much. So
very good.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what was your second one from 2023?
Paint every unpainted mini for every game I already known. I almost did that. I got about 80% of the way done, and everything is primed. I could sit down and do a bad paint job. I could finish it in 2 or 3 hours if I wanted to.
I think you did a great job with this one.
Whenever
we go over to your house.
Successful.
Yeah, when we ever go over to your house, you have a ton of your minis painted. Yeah, and it's noticeable, and they're good.
Thank you.
I mean, we played Zombicide at GuildCon, and Lincoln was like, "Dude, all the minis are painted, and it's awesome." Like when we're playing it, right? Because how many times do you play a game like a Zombicide or like one of these big, epic games where you've got like 50 to 100 miniatures in it, and they're all just gray plastic, right?
Plastic, and you can't really tell what you're looking at, and
but when you have it painted, it feels epic.
The painting tells the story of the mini.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just a plastic mini, all of the details that the sculptor put into the story are hidden. That you actually have to paint them to bring them out to the player.
Yeah.
And that's where World of Smog is amazing. Their sculpts from CMON are insane. They're all so beautiful and artisanal, and every single one is like there's layers of story, and it's fun to paint them because you're like, oh wow, this Baba Yaga is topless and she's got mushrooms growing out of her butt. What's going on here? And this is a true story. Or no, not the Baba Yaga. It was another mystical beast, right? Like it's like, oh well, that's just kind of an extreme example. But they all have interesting stories. You know, why is there a 6-year-old girl holding a revolver? Stuff like that, you know, and what's her facial expression, and using the art, the 2-dimensional art, to inform your painting without it being 100% identical, because you can never get 100% identical. It's fun. It's really fun, and that's why I know I know wargaming bias is towards, okay, I got to paint up my warband or my army to have a certain look. But for me, painting minis for a board game in some ways is a little bit different kind of fun in a different way, because now you're asking the players to kind of go on an adventure with you in a very different way.
I think you get that with like heroes of board games. So like, for example, or mini games. So for example, you'll have 10 soldiers, but then you'll have the sergeant, right? And the sergeant's got a little bit more character and stuff like that. And so you'll do the kind of the speed paint, flash paint type of thing with the soldiers, but then you'll take your time and really like invest in the heroes to, kind of do that. And it's a little bit more fun. And you'll hear about it where people are like, oh, wow, it's so fun not batch painting right now. Like I actually get to take my time and think about how this cloak is supposed to look, or the facial expression, etc. So, yeah, but man, you did awesome, and Speed Paint was your best friend in that.
I did Speed Paint 2.0. It's a good set. It doesn't have everything that everybody might be looking for, but it's very, very good, and I do recommend Speed Paint 2.0 from Army Painter. And for all the crap mistakes they make, they're crazy passionate about this, and they love gamers. It's like you don't really feel that like from a Vallejo, right? Vallejo's like, yeah, you should paint your minis with our paint. We love paint. But like Army Painter is like, we want you to be gamers and paint these for your games. So I love it.
Absolutely. Very nice. Let's see. My second one of 2023 is I played more starter sets that I have, and I listed One Ring, Blackbirds, Warhammer Fantasy, Blades in the Dark. So here are the ones I did play. Some of them were older, but I still played them again. I played Call of Cthulhu. I actually ran that one for my work, and like there were 7 people playing, and 4 had never touched an RPG before. So we played Call of Cthulhu, and it was so much fun. We had so much fun with it. Let's see. So played Call of Cthulhu, The One Ring, The Walking Dead, Zweihander, Blade Runner, Pendragon, and Doctor Who. Now those are all ones that I own, but I didn't run
except for Doctor Who. Except for
Doctor Who. That's true. I don't own Doctor Who. But those are all ones that I played, and I ran about half of them. So I think this year was a very good year for me in terms of like playing starter sets. And so what I would like to do, I think, this year, and this isn't necessarily one of my goals, but just, looking to build on this success is now like, which of these games do I kind of want to go further down the rabbit hole with a little bit more? And like we talked about in the Walking Dead RPG, that would be fun to maybe have a couple of, sessions where you could play, with your encampment and stuff like that. So now it's just trying to figure out which ones I want to like pull on the thread a little bit further. But I love starter sets. The ones I have now that I still need to play that are right here are Warhammer Fantasy, that is still in the shrink wrap. Fallout is still in the shrink wrap. And I backed a Kickstarter called Cahor Cthulhu, which is a Roman Legion Cthulhu game that is done by Modifius that will be coming out this year. So I'm excited for that one because we'll be playing some Roman Legion with like the weirdness. So
it's exciting.
Cool. Yeah. So I consider it a success. I did pretty good. Did pretty good with it.
That's great.
All right, Jason, 2023.
I wanted to GM more, and I think I did pretty good on this one. I did lots of Aliens, some Hell Knight, and Blade Runner. Actually, surprisingly, I don't think I GM'd Mothership this year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, played it. I don't think I GM'd it. But anyway, so a lot of Aliens, and I like that. I like that system a lot. I like that setting a lot. I really had a lot of fun with that. Hell Knight was fun. It was just what I thought it would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just what I thought it would be. Just a fun, roaring 80s, over the top, gore fest kind of a thing. And it was just good fun. I don't think I'll probably run it that much, but it's one of those things I'll have on the shelf just for fun here and there. And Blade Runner, we've already kind of talked about Blade Runner, but I'm glad I did it. I got that experience, was able to live inside of that setting. I'm not sure I'm going to GM Blade Runner again myself. It's probably not the type of system that I am the GM for. It's a little too structured for me.
I was going to say, you like having the outline and running with it. And you can't do that with Blade Runner. Yeah. You literally have to have like pages of notes and connecting dots everywhere, right? To kind of facilitate the investigatory feel of that. So that's not your style. It just isn't. And that's okay to admit that, right?
Yeah, it's not my style. But I had a great time with Aliens and Hell Knight. And I'm looking forward to some more this year, GMing some more this year. Everybody's crossing their fingers that backed it, but we're all hoping that the Mothership 1.0 boxed edition is actually going to arrive this year from Kickstarter. It's like a year behind now, as I expected it would be. But that will be a giant box set with all of the Mothership stuff printed, at least up to that point, from Tuesday Night Games, official from Tuesday Night Games up to that point. So when that comes, I'm sure to probably roll a bunch of Mothership stuff out there. So excited about that.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I was going to produce one adventure for Genesis Foundry. Did not do it. I'm trying to course correct my gaming to be less RPG centric. So I think I want to do other types of games. And the thing that everybody keeps making time for, and the thing that when you GM a lot, people want you to GM a lot. So when you're good at GMing, I'm good at GMing, but if it's a skill you have, people are like, hey, we really want you to run a game. And so it's hard to get away from RPG, and I kind of want to get away from it. So I'm okay that I didn't work on that one. Okay. All right. Who's next?
So an utter failure, but a partial success.
It was an utter failure. It was
personal success.
You learned a little bit about you.
The success was the introspection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Learned a little bit about myself.
Yeah. I'm bored and lazy. I mean, I'd rather just play video games. No, I'm kidding.
So one of my goals was to attend at least 3 conventions in 2023, and then I put maybe 4, and I actually attended 4. So I attended Adepticon, Gen Con, the Nova Open, and GuildCon is a convention. So that was 4.
We did have 4 this year.
It was good. I really wanted to go to PAX East Unplugged. I really wanted to make it. It's just that first week of December is like murder. My wife looks at me like, "Are you literally thinking of leaving me to go and do this?"
We're gonna have to get like straight up retired before we can go to a December convention.
Yeah, where there's not like about it, and I mean, the other thing too is we all have kids that are in like various elementary, middle, and high school. And it seems like they take everything that they can and pack it into those like last 3 weeks of December before the holidays. And so it's like, there's no way I could have gone to go do it. So, which is unfortunate because it was in Philly. It was only it's only a 2.5 hour drive, like we should have totally come out. I know.
It's my anniversary weekend. So I will never go to PAX East.
There was a small convention in Texas for another podcast I used to be associated with, and they were always the week of my wife's birthday. Every year after year after year, they went like 6-7 years, and I'm like, I love you guys, but I'm never going to show up. I don't have the brownie points to leave town that week.
Now, Jason, hear me out on this. instead of your wife's birthday, we do a week before gaming cruise where she can go on the cruise and have a great time.
And you can ignore her.
It's not the birthday, it's the anniversary.
Anniversary.
Oh yeah, sure. Honey,
That's supposed to
I
be
booked
two
us
of
a
us
cruise.
together.
Yeah.
You can sneak away for a couple of days, Jason.
Yeah.
Can
I bring Dan and Justin on our
anniversary cruise?
What kind of cruise
happens
is
to
this?
also be GuildCon
Yeah.
at Sea?
Yeah.
You booked a gaming cruise for our anniversary.
We'll be like in the cabin the first day, like looking at the events. Well, do we want to do this? Do we want to do this Tuesday night? Yeah. Well, hey, Wednesday night there's this big gaming thing down in the the libido deck. Maybe we should do that, huh? No.
Did you call it the libido deck? It's the Lido deck.
No, I call it the libido deck. It's the
libido
anniversary
deck.
cruise. Come on.
All right. All right. We just went to PG-13, folks. Buckle up.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, it was a success. So that makes me actually kind of 3 for 3 on my goals this year, and I'm pretty
Look
happy about
who's
that.
so
I know.
special.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
If you don't say so yourself.
Right.
And Jason, round us out on 2023.
So I combined two, and I think I realized I shouldn't have done that. I wanted to do more battle reports. I don't think we did a single battle report. We tried a battle report.
We tried.
Early days, we tried a battle report, and just like our whole studio setup just like went bonkers with it or something. Like it didn't record right, or the camera was funny, or something.
And then we tried it again, and we just realized that we don't have the bandwidth to really put out a bunch of battle reports.
We don't. But the second part, which was the real part about that, was to play Kill Team at a convention, and we did. We played Kill Team at Nova Open.
We did, and we got rocked.
Totally rocked really hard.
Yeah, but the good news is that afterwards, Jason, you and I had because we ended up getting the vibe because we were so bad. We ended up having a really good game between us.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Know? Yeah, because
were
we
you
actually
guys
learned
both
how to
the
play.
lowest, and you showed up at the bottom table together?
Well,
No,
it was a team. It was a team thing, and they had some teams that had dropped, and so there was an odd amount of teams. And so because we were the lowest team, we ended up getting the bye at the end, which is fine. Like, honestly, it was fine. Another dude showed up and played Casey, and Jason and I played each other, so we still got our game in. And we had a good. I had a great time. Playing Kill Team was fun.
It was, and I think that was when we both walked away and said, we had fun with Kill Team, but it's not going to be like our major competitive skirmish game.
Right.
Yeah.
They're great.
Because if you want to get good at it,
great models, great skulls.
Oh yeah. If you want to get good at it, you have to dedicate so much time.
I think you have to play to be good at Kill Team. You have to play a lot more than you do to be good at Warcry.
Right.
Yeah, the game's a lot more complicated, to be fair. Yeah.
Ergo, why I play Warcry, not Kill Team.
Yeah. Definitely.
But it scratched the sci-fi itch for me.
Yeah.
This year.
It was fun. It was fun to have the shooting element be a big part of it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Okay, so this brings us to January 2nd, 2024. We have crafted over the last year, we have honed in our goals and what we want to do for 2024. We did not just write these 1 hour ago. That is not us at all.
No.
We did not just write these.
That was a half hour ago. No, I mean,
right, exactly.
Right.
That's pretty good for us.
Exactly. However, we do have 2023 goals. And let's just go, 2024 goals. Let's just keep the same order.
We had 20. Who's first?
Are we going to go the same order? I'm going to buy very little games. Now, you guys, I may say dumb.
I don't believe you.
I have too much. I've accumulated too much. I feel like I'm game hoarding. The ratio of stuff. Now, it's not the money. I don't even care. It's not like, I needed that money to put braces on my kid's face. No, that's not the thing. It's not about the money. It's the hoarding. It's am I acquiring stuff just to acquire it? So if I'm just going to get stuff that I know that I will actually use, that will be played, that will have a functional purpose, like 100% functional purpose, not like, oh, I think I might, it's like yes, I'm buying this because we're playing on the 31st of the month. And that's what we're going to
It's funny.
do.
I almost said it's not hoarding, it's collecting, but I was like, that's probably what most hoarders say.
Listen, if any of our listeners are majoring in psychology, this is an excellent example of what delusional thought and behavior is.
You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. I've reached an economic place in my life where I just buy myself whatever I want whenever I want it. And if you do that for 2 or 3 years straight, you find you got the stuff coming out of your ears, and it's the ratio of buying stuff to not playing enough. I want to focus on playing. I want to focus on getting people together. I want more interactions with human beings. Play more games. Don't spend time organizing, buying, cataloging. That is less fun. Painting's different. Painting's different, and receiving gifts is different. People can give me gifts.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna buy, like, so for instance, I'm not going to go on a buying spree to like chase a meta before a war game tournament, or I'm not going to just buy it because it's cheap and I might play it someday. I'm buying this thing because I know what day I'm going to play it as a lock-in thing. Because I have too much crap. You guys know I have too much crap. I just have too much crap. So
Jason, this is like Dan's argument here of like, listen, it's not about the money. It's, he's gotten to a certain point. This is like altered carbon, where it's like, now you can't die. And so what do you do with the rest of your life? You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, so Dan's reached this gaming point of altered carbon where it's like, now like money's not an object. How does his gaming life look at this point?
It's like, even the war game I own the least of is Warcry, and I still have 6 or 7 war bands, right? So, and I barely play it, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm good for a long time.
So I'll say this, Dan. Now you have spent a lot of money on Legion stuff.
Oh, Legion.
A lot of Legion, right?
There's no product I'm going to buy for myself for Legion. I will buy anything that comes out for the Imperial faction this year. That's another caveat.
Dan, I'm going to say this. Dan is not a Games Workshop true believer. Otherwise, he wouldn't be talking about having all this disposable income.
No, exactly. Well, I'd have a wife. I would buy it and just have a little more wife aggro to deal with. And that's hey, I'm installing cabinets for her in like 4 weeks. We're good. The cabinets run.
All right.
The cabinets run 5 figures. Okay.
I'm going to predict that this is going to be a very partial success for you, Dan. The minute that first real big miniature market sale of the year happens.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
I think.
Prove me wrong.
I think even though Dan said he wants to diverge away from RPG, the next time Free League posts something like, and they're touching some universe that touches deep down into Dan's heart.
Nope.
He's gonna back it.
I don't have anything with their Lord of the Rings stuff. There's my proof. And I bought the Blade Runner RPG or the Kickstarter, and I never collected my book. I never collected it. I never emailed them and said, hey, I put in money. You never sent me the book. No, I'm serious, guys. I'm really going to it's going to focus on the gaming, not the acquiring of the games. They're two separate things.
I want, as in the words of Fox Mulder, I want to believe.
What? So this is what could happen. What could happen is if Atomic Mass Games comes out with really compelling products, and they don't just launch another game and want you to buy into a new game, learn a new system, and paint a whole bunch of models that are incompatible with other crap that you have, right? Mm-hmm. What could happen? Atomic Mass Games could come out with any new product for Armada. There's been no new plastic in Armada for like 4 years, right? X-Wing, they keep reprinting old stuff from 1.0, and they keep pretending like it's new. It's like, okay, I'm bored out of my mind with their lack of. There's nothing exciting to buy. There's just And look at even Warcry with all the stuff that they had. I mean, I could have bought the what were the last boxes with the bamboo stuff? What was that?
Mhm.
That
stuff, all the heart of Gur
the
stuff.
Gur, it all looked lame. It's like I don't want to fight a bunch of frogs. That looks dumb, right? It's like sell me something. I mean, I have disposable income. I will buy it if it's cool. There was just not enough cool stuff.
All right, so my resolution is to make a card game Dan will buy.
Yeah, do it. Sorry, I'll shut up now. I'll shut up now. Audience, I had to convince these guys that I'm serious about this. Sorry, I'll shut up.
All right, I'm interested. Okay, my first New Year's resolution of 2024. I'm digging way back. I'm going back to an oldie but a goodie. Is I need to win the War of Gray that's on my shelf right now. I've just got too much.
No one wins
backlog.
the War on Gray.
I know, but I will say this. 2023 was actually a pretty good year. The output versus the input was pretty good. I brought in 3 war bands for Warcry, and I ended up painting 2 kill teams, a whole bunch of scenery, and 3 war bands. So,
and the scenery was because you were running tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. So it was actually a pretty good year in terms of doing it, and I want to carry that momentum into 2024. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm behind.
So that's a goal. Like really put a massive dent in my backlog.
Love it.
So yeah. All right, Jason.
Well, my first one's going to be to play all of Dan's games. No. Since he's got so many on the shelf. But no, I have a resolution to play all of my 24 board games that I got at the end of the year. Actually, might be 25.
You got a really good selection.
Yeah.
Huge list. Yeah. At Land Dice, Snow Time, Foodies, Gang Rush, Ninja Dice, Neverland Rescue, Aslan, Neon Gods, Helix Expanse, Discover, Arkham Horror expansions, Professor Evil and the Citadel of Time, Comanauts, The Game, Panic, Zombie Tsunami, Ragers, Champions of the Arena, Secrets of the Lost Stallion, Chupacabra, Spot It, Harry Potter edition, and ISS Vanguard. And I've played 4 of those so far.
Yeah.
But a bunch of these are ones my family will never play with me.
Well, you got players right here, Ben.
Yeah.
Just put out the call.
So we're gonna have to play it. So I'm excited. That's I have a tangible list that I can check off for this year.
Very good. Yeah, very, very good. Very good. All right, Dan. What's your next 2024 goal?
This will not take as long as my first one. But I really enjoyed a couple years ago what I really did, building the game table, merging carpentry and gaming in more meaningful ways. I've been thinking about, it's very popular right now to build cutting boards. It's like, does the universe need more cutting boards? The best cutting board in the world is the plastic one you can throw away in 3 months, right? So, but I would like to build chessboards and stuff like that. So I think that might be interesting. I might look into getting a lathe so I can make pawns and stuff like that. So I'm interested in that idea, or getting the equivalent of that you can hook on the end of a drill and make your own dowels and stuff. So I want to combine woodworking and gaming more. That's a goal.
That's very cool.
Yep. Yeah. Interested to see where that goes. Very cool.
Yeah. What the world could use some more of, Dan, are some wooden dice trays.
Yeah. I could put that. I could definitely do those. I've got a couple plans in my head right now. I could show you on the whiteboard. The other thing is I kind of want to build a very lightweight 3 foot by 6 foot lightweight table for wargaming for that fits Legion and Armada really well. That's that game space. So I might play around with that. My wife will kill me if she thinks I have another game table in the house. So it'll have to hide. It'll have to 4 foot by 6 foot blend in, and it's tricky. So we'll see what happens there. But yep, the carpentry plus gaming, I really enjoyed that, and I want to make that connection again.
Yeah, I was gonna. I had all these big grand plans when I first moved into my house to build a gaming table, and then I got all those foldable tables, And whenever we've had GuildCon or anything, and I just put all those fold tables up, Annie comes down, my wife comes downstairs and says, "Oh, looks like we've solved the game table problem." Then she walks back upstairs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
Yep.
I still kind of want to build a game table. She's like, why? You can set up like 5 foldable tables and have people all over the place. Then you can take the tables down and the kids can play soccer in the basement. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Been there,
You're,
done that.
you're missing the point because I
I
could
know.
have a gaming table and 5 tables.
Yes.
And they hate and the wives hate and.
Yes.
Right. And by the way, no more coming down with peanut gallery comments. Okay.
Right. And remember, the basement is my space.
They don't call it a man cave for nothing. It's not a wife cave. Has anybody heard of a wife cave? That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all right. So my second goal. This is going to be a lofty one. This is my stretch goal. I want to write an RPG. I already have the theme in mind. You guys have heard me talk about it. I don't want to say it here on the podcast because I do want to kind of enter in a partnership with Free League, hopefully, and get it published. So like it is like a known IP that I want to kind of write in that universe and really get it out there and publish it. And I think what I need to do is write the RPG and then pitch it. Like I don't think I don't think I can pitch it and yeah, exactly. Haha, Dan, got you.
Got me.
Yeah, I don't think I can pitch it and then write it. Like I think I need to go in with a product in hand if I would like to get Free League's assistance on it. So I just need to sit down and start writing. But I have decided that I want to put it in the Year Zero engine. I really like the dice pools and the roll sixes, and what I like about that system is that it's like a bridge between your traditional RPGs and the narrative dice. Because the more sixes you get, you can kind of help affect the story, and it can help you tell the story a little bit more. So it's almost like RPG Dice Plus, where you can kind of throw that narrative flair in there that you get from the Star Wars stuff. And so like I like that system a lot. You see it worked awesome in Aliens. It worked well in it even worked well in Blade Runner, but it worked well in the One Ring, etc. Like it's just a good system. So yeah. So that's my goal, is to write an RPG and hopefully get it on the publishing track. I'm not going to say publish because I think there's a lot of factors that could go into that, but I want to have it written and pitched. That's what I'll write. Written and pitched this year.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes with my second one too. I want to finish some of those prototype games that I started up. And get them into I want to try to take them through the publishing, but I'm not talking large scale publishing. I'm talking probably prototype low rate stage where it's like, I've got my own art on like a crappy, like, what was it? What's that? Was that Chinese, one of those Chinese card companies people used to, Arts Cow, or whatever.
Yeah.
That make it really easy to just get your early prototypes in place. So that's my goal, is to have prototype cards that I haven't printed out from my home printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of like that gunfight and gambling guy that was
Meeple.
like when he was
mid-level Meeple.
So yeah. Because he had kind of his prototype and then you could order it off the website, you know what I mean? But he was kind of ordering it like in batches. Like he didn't do like a big
he pulled it off Kickstarter, and he did it off of his own. He did it off of his own website with pre-orders. He went out to all those conventions. He got everybody to like his card game, and then he gave them a web link. I remember we were right there, right? We could go onto his website and we bought the game right then. And he waited until he got like, a chunk
enough to do a run.
And then he did a run. So he just did it all by him, all on his own.
Yeah.
That's great. It's a good game too.
It's a great that game.
You still play that game.
That game comes out in my family. It does, with my kids a lot. Yeah.
As we've discovered, that is a higher bar than you would think for all of us. For all of us.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what's your last one in 2024?
I want to restart couples game night. You guys know that back when I had a smaller house, that we had a couples game night that got real crowded in my small little basement.
It's a lot of fun.
And we had great times. And then we upgraded our house. My basement is not as big as Jason's. But there's a lot more elbow room, and it's a lot more comfortable to hang out down here. So
I do have twice the number of kids as you, though. So
yeah, it's true, and 100 times more dogs. So
and they like to play soccer in the house,
in the basement.
200 times more dogs
in the basement. Yeah, 200 times more dogs, right? So yeah, no. I think as gamers, we kind of poo-poo that and go, couples game night. That sounds terrible. But actually, it's a really great way to kind of experiment with different kinds of games, expose people to games that they wouldn't be exposed to in other ways.
I loved it.
And the trick is just finding games that have a good player number, get the right number of players. So that's one of my goals, is to kind of not restart it on a regular basis, but do it maybe once a quarter or something like that is one of my goals. And I've roomed down here for 2 game tables too. So, it doesn't have to be an 8-player game or a 10-player game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. That's where we played our group, Rednecks, and what was that? Redneck Life?
It was Redneck Life, I think.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time with that.
I still want to play that game.
Yeah,
it's a funny game. It's a great time to just kind of also mix friends and get to know people from different kind of pods of your life, and you kind of mesh them all up together as one, and then before you know it, everybody's cross friends that wasn't before. And I think that's a valuable. It's a community building activity, and I think having like significant others down there adds another dimension of that. That's really good.
Nice. All right. So my next one, I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this, but I've been feeling like I want to do it for a while. I'd like to write a short story and submit it to a magazine. So I know, Jason, you did this, like a couple of years ago, right? Like you wrote that horror short story.
Yeah, I wrote the story. I never submitted it, though.
Oh, no?
I wrote, actually, I have. I'm going to let you finish yours, then I'll talk about mine. But yeah, go ahead.
So, but I've got an idea of like a setting thing that I thought would be good for an RPG, and it might be a little tricky, but I think it would work out well as a short story, actually. Maybe a little bit better than an RPG. And sometimes that happens to me a lot, where I'm like, oh man, this would be such a good idea for an RPG. And then when you go to put pen to paper for it, you're like, there's way too much like internal monologue that needs to happen here. Like that would be better in a story format. So I think I've got a good story that I can put forward. I think I want to do it in the horror genre, kind of a very Cthulhu-esque story. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I got to find the right magazine, though.
You know what? And this is going to sound heretical, but when I was thinking about what were the barriers to me writing the stuff that I wanted to write, I think I just needed I needed a team or a writing partner or somebody to collaborate with. And I like the idea of like tasking like ChatGPT to give me a bad version of what I'm looking for. So I can like, oh no, that's not what I want. This is what I really want. Something that spurs you to say, oh, I see you're looking at it from this perspective, computer, you're wrong. Let me navigate towards the right thing versus just staring at a blank page.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. And sometimes getting the bad stuff out of your mind helps you understand the good stuff you want to put in, right?
Yeah.
So
knowing what to say no to refines your taste.
Yeah.
Your taste level.
And I think part of the reason I want to do a short story for a magazine is a lot of times the requirements that they have is it can only be X amount of words. It can only be, you know what I mean? It is a certain genre. There's usually a certain theme with it. So it helps narrow that down so that I don't have like to me, one of the biggest hurdles that I would have to overcome writing a book like our buddy Adam Hill did is narrowing down on one idea that I have. Like I've got so many ideas and they're all just kind of rattling around that they tend to bounce off of each other and I don't get a very good clarity. But having an assignment, quote unquote assignment for like a magazine, I think helps narrow that focus and you can, do it much better. So,
and you have an audience, which is their editors, right?
Yep.
And that's really powerful too.
Yep.
This is why all great writers have editors to work with.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
100%. And I think a lot of great writers start out writing a lot of short stories just because it hones in like that. You know, you don't start out by writing a, 1,200 page book.
What Hunter S. Thompson did is he kept rewriting The Great Gatsby in his spare time.
Yeah.
And then he found his own voice by like trying to rewrite The Great Gatsby over and over and over and over again, which is
It turned out it was also a lot of acid.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. But you know what I'm saying.
I do.
There is a way of training yourself to be better at something by copying a master, but not by copying it and turning that in, but copying it and learning their process to get to become a master.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book on this actually right now.
Nice. Yeah. So anyway, that's my third one. That'll be my real stretch. I put 3 stretches because 2023 I just crushed those ones. I said those were too easy, way too easy. So
yeah, we noticed.
Now I need a challenge.
I crushed it.
I'm so good at setting my own goals and achieving them.
Right. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm patting myself on the back when I get
exactly.
I don't know how I got this good at everything, but I am.
I'm gonna, for 2024, I'm gonna wake up and every day I'm gonna breathe. every day.
Hey, far I'm 2 for 2.
That's right. So my interesting, Justin, how aligned our last 2 are. You want to write an RPG. I want to finish one of my games, so game related, and then your last one is you want to write a short story for magazine, and I wanted to actually publish my short horror stories.
And I didn't look at yours when I wrote mine.
Yeah.
I don't think you looked at mine when
No, that's what's interesting. Combined with that, though, is that I want to read more horror. When I notice when I do write, I've written several short stories, but I've never published any of them. And I usually write them when I see a challenge, like, okay, here's an online zine that is accepting, 2,000 or less, or even Flash, which is like 1,000 or less words stories. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for this one and I'll write it and I'll get all done and I'll edit and I'll get happy with it and then I'll never submit it. I just won't.
Right.
And probably because I get what I want out of it when I finish. I'm like, yeah, it was a cool story. And then I walk away and I actually forget about submitting it. So this year I want to do that, but I also want to read more of like horror and keep track of it. Every year I think this year I'm going to actually write down every book I read so I can look back and see all the cool stuff I read. And every year I get to like October and I'm like, I've read so many awesome science fiction books or listened to them. I have no idea what they all are. And then I try to go back through like my my audiobook app, and like I use Scribd because it's a little more indie underdoggy, and I like its accessibility a little bit better, but it does not do a good job of like tracking what you've completed. Yeah. So every year I'm like, I don't know, I don't remember anything I read. And then someone will say, hey, have you heard of this story? And they'll describe it and I'll be like, you know what? I think I read that one.
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah, I think I read that one. The Old Man's War. How many times Old Man War has come up with people and they describe, can't remember what this is called, and they just start describing like, oh my gosh, I read that book. So I need to open a Goodreads account and actually like start checking them off.
Yeah.
There, but yeah, I want to get my horror. I want to actually publish my short stories this year, and most of them are usually based off of games that I play, like whether it's an RPG session or something. It usually gives me a little idea, and then I go back and I'll write like a 2,000 words or less, just quick story that spawned off of an RPG session I had. So it's gaming related, it's gaming driven. I just want to get it out there.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I like it.
Sounds great.
Fun. All right. 2024.
All right, I'm going to see if I can completely fail again next year. Let's see.
Only 363 more days.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're on the clock.
Yeah.
So anyway, but obviously underlying all of this stuff is just continuing to have fun, continuing to game, continue to build those relationships. I know we're still planning to run events for like Warcry and probably doing like another GuildCon again, or
At sea.
I mean, attending stuff. I mean,
GuildCon at sea.
Exactly. So I mean, like we're not giving up on some of the other stuff. These are just kind of how we expand, sort of, and focus. Give us a little bit of focus. So we'd love to hear what some of your guys's goals are for the year. Do you have gaming goals? Like, and if so, like, what are they? I think if you were to ask our friend John Tross what his gaming goal is, it would be to run Axis and Allies again, and play the global, edition, and that would be a perfectly great goal to put out there, because that's not a game that you can just whip out every month and play, so when it takes 14 and a half hours.
14 hours.
Yeah. So anyway, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Let us know, and jump into our Discord. Mention what kind of goals you guys have, and we'd love to hear it. So thank you for listening. As always, thank you for a great 2023 from all of you, and we're looking forward to an even better 2024. So thank you, everybody, and have a great night. See you at the tables.